Hi, everyone. My name is Ronald Denisio, and I'm the Virtual Content Specialist for 7th grade Social Studies. I wanted to take the time to talk about how to use the Google app Jamboard to increase collaboration in virtual sessions. For the purpose of this video, I will refer to Unit 2, Days 18 to 19, Evaluating the Outcomes of the Revolution for 7th grade Social Studies, but creating opportunities for students to use Jamboard can be used for any lesson in the Passport to Social Studies curriculum. One of the challenges in remote learning is thinking about how to implement activities from the Passport to Social Studies that are student-centered. In the physical classroom, it is a lot easier to set up learning partnerships and have students work together on a shared document. In the virtual setting, I sometimes find it difficult to create space for every voice to be heard, but I have been finding that I can engage more students in an activity if I ask them to work together using Jamboard. I like to use it for the wrap-up and check for understanding questions. Using Jamboard allows students to share the knowledge they are learning in a way that is similar to small group discussions or gallery walks in the classroom. The setup for Jamboard is simple. Double check that you are signed into your DOE account. You'll then click the Google app box in the top right corner. Then click Jamboard. Click the plus icon to launch a new jam on the bottom right. Now, you'll go to the bottom right corner and click this plus icon to launch a new jam to create your Jamboard. I'll walk you through each of these steps now. So just to go through the steps again, we'll click the Google app box in the top right corner. We'll scroll down and look for the Jamboard icon on the right-hand side. We'll then see our Jamboards or our recent jams if we've been using this app feature before. But we want to go to the right-hand side, the bottom right corner, and click this plus icon that says New Jam. Now we'll be able to create our Jamboard. The objective for the Evaluating the Outcomes of the Revolution lesson is analyze primary sources to evaluate the outcomes of the revolution for various groups in American society. During this 2-day lesson, students look at how the outcome of the American Revolution affected different individuals in history and the extent to which their experience represents how different groups were impacted by the war. This video will focus on the first day of the lesson. Students are going to look at the way different people who represent different perspectives in the United States were affected in various ways by the outcomes of the revolution. And they'll do this by engaging in a double entry journal activity. This is the way that the students will gather information that they need to be able to answer the wrap-up and the check for understanding questions. The wrap-up is what I wanted to focus on for the Jamboard. So the 2 questions that I'm going to pose to my students say, what is the most interesting thing you learned about how the American Revolution affected different people today? And what did you record about it in your double entry journal? Also, did the revolution affect all people the same? Why or why not? Now that I have the Jamboard set up, I simply click the text box icon and copy and paste the questions into the box. I can change the size and location to put the prompt wherever I like. Consider whether any instructions would be helpful to have on the Jamboard, such as if you want students to label their responses with their names or contribute anonymously. I then check the share settings to make sure my students can access the work and post the link for the Jamboard on Google Classroom or in the Zoom chat. If I post the Jamboard as an assignment that students can edit in Google Classroom, the sharing settings will be automatically updated here to reflect that. I could also set the background to have different colors. And also click this icon here to expand the frame bar and toggle between different questions if I want to add another frame. Finally, circling back to the objective for this lesson, you can see if students met this objective based on their responses to the Jamboard. Seeing all your students' responses in one space can make this process of looking at student work simpler. Students can also get ideas from one another as they work. Now that I have student responses visible, I can ask them to comment on one another's response and create a discussion based on the work students have done. You can also use your trackpad to zoom in and out on some of the comments If you're sharing your screen in a synchronous session, this can facilitate student learning by having students reading and responding to each other's responses. So, the strategies that we went over today for using Jamboard not only work for this lesson, but any lesson in the Passport to Social Studies curriculum. Feel free to give these strategies a try.